Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyyina Abil Qasim al-Mustafa Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين ورحمة الله وبركاته. We said that the essence of mourning for Imam Hussein alayhi salam is to express our sadness in a public way for the loss of Imam alayhi salam and those who gave their lives for the cause of Imam alayhi salam. As we say, وَعَلَى الْأَرْوَاحِ الَّتِي حَلَّتْ بِفِنَائِكَ. So the mourning for Imam involves mourning also for those valuable lives which were sacrificed for the same cause. And then we said that this sadness is very valuable. We shouldn't think that we have to avoid sadness all the time. This is sadness for a good cause, and also it has great spiritual impact. And inshallah later, after 2-3 nights, I will come back to the outcomes of mourning for Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And then we said, to feel sad, you need to know what has happened. Without understanding, without knowledge, you will not feel sad. Right now, when I'm talking to you, many people are dying in the world. But you may not feel sad because, first of all, you don't know what is happening. And secondly, you don't know those people. So you don't feel sad. But if you are told that a person that you know and you love died, you feel sad. So you need to know those people who are losing their lives so that you feel sad. And then I said that this has different levels. The very basic level is something that every human being, Muslim, non-Muslim, can understand. If you tell them the facts of what happened on the day of Ashura, what Imam and his people went through, and what the enemies of Imam did, every human being feels sad. And if they can really relate to it and get engaged, they will feel deeply sad. And this is what we see already. There are Hindus, there are Christians who take part in the mourning for Imam Hussein. They donate money, they bring their children, they have requests. They make sure that they make these requests in these gatherings. Of course, as I said, unfortunately, we have not been that successful in publicizing what has happened in a rational way, in the way that people who don't know Islam or don't know the teachings of Ahlul Bayt and just share with us humanity can understand. We have made it very complicated, and we have somehow kept it for ourselves. We have not been very generous in sharing this with other people. Even if you look at the way we do Azadari, I think most of the time we do it in the way that we enjoy, not in the way that can be understood and appreciated by other people. I don't think we make it a priority in planning that let's do it in the way that if a person just comes in, maybe by chance sees that what is happening here and comes in, would benefit and understand. We do it in the way that we think that when we go back home, we feel very satisfied, and we feel that we have really done good azadari that I was doing all the time, since my childhood. So this is something that we have to work on that. Then, in a higher level, we have the understanding that a follower of Islam can have. In addition to sharing humanity, a follower of Islam, a lover of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and his household would have better understanding of the great loss which is involved here. They know that Imam Hussein alayhi salam was first of all the son of the Prophet. There are many hadiths about Imam Hussein and Imam Hassan being sons of the Prophet. Of course, Bani Umayyah and even Bani al-Abbas, to some extent, they try to say that these are not sons of the Prophet. These are sons of Ali. And they are connected to the Prophet through his daughter, not through the son of the Prophet. So therefore, they wanted to question them being sons of the Prophet. But this was not a very strong argument, and no one took it seriously that much. There is a hadith that Imam Baqir alayhi salam told Abu Jarud, what do these people say about Hassan and Hussein alayhi salam? He said they don't accept these are sons of the Prophet. So Imam said, what then do you say to convince them? So he said, we mentioned the ayah of Mubahala, because Allah says in ayat Mubahala, فَإِنْ حَاجُّكَ بَعْدَ الَّذِي جَاءَكَ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ فَقُلْ تَعَالَ نَدْعَوْا أَبْنَاءَنَا وَأَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَنِسَاءَنَا وَنِسَاءَكُمْ وَأَنفُسَنَا وَأَنفُسَكُمْ. So we argue from this ayah that Hassan and Hussein were taken by the Prophet as abna'ana, as our sons. This is one argument that we use. The other argument that we use is the verse about Isa alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, referring to Ibrahim, وَمِن ذُرِّيَّتِهِ, one of the progeny of Ibrahim was Isa. And Isa was not connected to Ibrahim through Isa's father. He was connected through Lady Maryam, because Isa didn't have father. So Imam said, then do they accept? He said, no. Still they question and say, yes, he is connected to the Prophet, but he is not from Sulb of the Prophet. So he's not they are not real progeny of the Prophet. So Imam said, I tell you one ayah, that if you use this ayah, it proves that they are sons from the Sulb of the Prophet, and no one can deny this except a kafir, except the one who doesn't believe in Quran. And that is the ayah which talks about the groups of women with whom one cannot get married. حُرِّمَتْ عَلَيْكُمْ أُمَّهَاتُكُمْ. The first group of people with whom you cannot get married, who are mahram to you, is your mothers. Mother, grandmother, upwards. From both father's side or mother's side, paternal or maternal. Then, banatukum, your daughters and granddaughters, akhawatukum, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَحَلَائِلُ أَبْنَائِكُمْ, the wives of your sons, min aslabikum, from your own progeny. Because in the time of Jahiliyyah, before Islam, they thought that even an adopted son, when he's married, then the wife of an adopted son is like their own son. You know the story of Zayd And the ayah فَلَمَّا قَضَى زَيْدٌ مِنْهَا وَطَرًا زَوَّجْنَاكَ لِكَيْ لَا يَكُونَ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ حَرَجٌ فِي أَزْوَاجِ أَدْعِيَاهِمْ إِذَا قَضَوْا مِنْهُنَّ وَطَرًا. Allah destroyed this custom. So here this ayah says, wives of your sons, but not sons who are adopted. Min aslabikum, your real sons. Then Imam Baghawi said, was Prophet anytime going to marry, for example, an ex-wife of Hassan and Hussein? No one can say this. Because you cannot get married to the wife of your grandson. So halailu abnaikum min aslabikum includes Hassan and Hussein. So this is the argument that you can use. The same conversation, I mean somehow the same, happened between Harun al-Rashid and Imam Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam. Harun al-Rashid asked Imam Musa alayhi salam, why do you let people call you son of the Prophet? I think he felt jealous. So he was saying, why you let people tell you Ibn Rasulullah? You should tell them we are not son of the Prophet. Because the Prophet is your grandfather through your mother. Then Imam alayhi salam used a very strong argument. Said, tell me, if the Prophet today is raised alive and makes proposal to you to marry to your daughter, what do? He said, for sure I will accept. It will be my honor to give my daughter as wife to the Prophet, and I will feel very proud. But Imam said, the Prophet never makes proposal to me to marry my daughter. My daughter can never marry to the Prophet. So this shows that I am son of the Prophet, and my daughter is daughter of the Prophet. So he said, Ahsant ya Musa ibn Ja'far. Well done, this is a good argument. So this position of Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein that some people didn't like was well established. And therefore you see many people, as I will mention towards the end of my talk, who saw Imam Hussein on his way to Karbala and they wanted to change his mind, they were calling him as Yabna Rasulullah. They didn't have any doubt about this. So every Muslim who has love for the Prophet and sees or later realizes that this has happened to the son of the Prophet cannot stop feeling sad and crying for what happened. And therefore you see, we have many Sunni brothers and sisters who cry for Imam Hussein alayhi salam. This is very natural. If someone doesn't cry, maybe he doesn't know. But those who cry is very natural. Especially if we know that he was not a normal son. He was a son which was very much loved by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is a hadith from one of the major sources of hadith for our Sunni brothers, and I use them because it shows that this was a public knowledge. This was not something that only the followers of Ahlul Bayt knew. The hadith says that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in one of the prayers of either Maghrib or Isha, was carrying his grandchild. It was possibly Imam Hussein. This person was not sure, says Hassan or Hussein. But this is something that is very well known. I am quoting from Sunan al-Nasa'i. He says, the Prophet the Prophet was carrying Imam as a child, and when he reached the mosque, he put him on the floor and started his prayer by saying Allahu Akbar. Kabbara lis-salat. Fasalla. Then when the Prophet was during his prayer, he reached sajda. Fasajada bayna zahraniyya salatihi. Sajdatan atalaha. Then the sajda was prolonged. The narrator says, I raised my head and I saw that the child is on the back of the Prophet. And Prophet is still in sajda, so I went back to sajda. You know, in Salatul Jama'ah, if you raise your head before Imam and you see that you can go back, you can go back, and this doesn't make any problem. This is not extra sajda. So he said, I went back, but I saw that this child was on the back of the Prophet. فَلَمَّا قُضِيَ الصَّلَاةِ, when Salat finished, قَالَ النَّاسِ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ, the people asked the Prophet what happened, because they didn't see what happened. I saw what happened. So they said, Ya Rasulullah, what happened? إِنَّكَ سَجَدْتَ بَيْنَ الظَّهْرَانِيِّ صَلَاتِكَ سَجْدَةً أَطَلْتَهَا. You made your sajda very long. حَتَّى ظَنَنَّا أَنَّهُ قَدْ حَدَثَ أَمْرٌ. We thought something has happened, maybe a problem has happened. Or أَنَّهُ يُوحَى إِلَيْكَ. Or we thought you are receiving revelation. The Prophet said, كُلُّ ذَلِكَ لَمْ يَكُنْ. None of this happened. وَلَكِنْ إِبْنِي. But my son. So the Prophet considered Hassan and Hussein as his son. He said, Ibni irtahalani. He was riding on me, on my back. فَكَرِهْتُ أَنْ أُعَجِّلَهُ. I didn't like to rush him. I wanted to let him finish what he wants, and when he is happy and he comes away, then I raise my hand. So this is what is in Sunan of Nisa'i, which is one of the 6 major collections of hadith for our Sunni brothers. In another hadith, which is in Sunan of Tirmizi, Osama ibn Zayd says that one night I wanted to see the Prophet because I had some need, some haja, something to discuss with the Prophet, to ask the Prophet. So he said, I went to the house of the Prophet, and when the Prophet came out to see me, under his cloak, he was carrying something. So I finished with him, but then I asked him, what are you carrying? So he said, مَا هَذَا الَّذِي أَنْتَ مُشْتَمِلٌ عَلَيْهِ. What is under your dress? فَكَشَفَهُ. The Prophet opened, فَإِذَا حَسَنٌ وَحُسَيْنٌ. Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein were carried by the Prophet. قَالَ هَذَانِ إِبْنَايَ. These are my 2 sons. وَابْنَا بِنْتِي. Sons of my daughter. اللهم إني أحبهما فأحبهم. Oh Allah, I love them. Please, you love them. وأحب من يحبهما. And whoever loves them also, please love them. And there are many hadiths like this. So everyone knew that Hassan and Hussein are 2 sons of the Prophet who were very especially loved. Not just, as a normal, child. They were loved in a very special way. There is another hadith in Bukhari about Imam Hassan alayhi salam. He says that سَمِعْتُ النَّبِي وَهُوَ عَلَى الْمِنْبَرِ. The narrator from whom Bukhari has received this says, I heard the Prophet was on minbar, on pulpit, وَالْحَسَنُ إِلَى جَنْبِهِ. Imam Hassan was next to the Prophet. يَنْظُرُ إِلَى النَّاسِ مَرَّةً وَإِلَيْهِمْ مَرَّةً. He was looking at people once and looking at Hassan at another time. So he was dividing his look between people and Hassan. وَيَقُولُ إِبْنِي هَذَا سَيِّدٌ. My son Hassan is a Sayyid, is a noble person, is a master. وَلَعَلَّ اللَّهَ أَنْ يُصْلِحَ بِهِ بَيْنَ فِئَتَيْنِ مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. and Allah inshallah is going to bring peace by him between two groups of Muslims, referring to the peace of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. So this shows that how much the Prophet loved them. The last hadith, which is very beautiful, this is in Tirmidhi, and the narrator is Anas ibn Malik, one of the companions of the Prophet. He says, سُئِلَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ أَيُّ أَحْلِ بَيْتِكَ أَحَبُّ إِلَيْكَ. Which of your family members you like the most? According to this hadith, the Prophet said, Al-Hasan wal-Husayn. Of course, there are hadith which says that the Prophet loved Imam Ali more than Hassan and Hussein, or Lady Fatima, but perhaps this is the love which is the love with affection. The love that you have for your child is of a special type with the love that you have, for example, for an adult. It's more perhaps affectionate. According to this hadith from Sunan of Tirmidhi, which is one of the major collections of hadith for our Sunni brothers, the Prophet said, Al-Hasan wal-Husayn. Hassan and Hussein are loved the most by me. وَكَانَ يَقُولُ. Look at this. وَكَانَ يَقُولُ لِفَاطِمَةَ. The Prophet used to say to Lady Fatima, bring my two sons. فَيَشُمُّهُمَا وَيَضُمُّهُمَا إِلَيْهِ. Then the Prophet, after Lady Fatima was bringing Hassan and Hussein, was smelling them. So the fragrance of Hassan and Hussein was giving him joy, pleasure. He was smelling them and he was putting them on his body. يَزُمُّهُمَا إِلَيْهِ. He was hugging them and embracing them. No one was ignorant of this. Even after many, many years, the late Sheikh Saduq, I think it's Sheikh Saduq if I am not mistaken, he says, yes, it's Sheikh Saduq in his Amali, he says, Abdullah, the son of second Caliph, met Imam Hussein alayhi salam on his way to Karbala. Imam Hussein at that time is 57 years old. So it is 50 years after the demise of the Prophet. So the son of the second Caliph had a conversation with Imam and tried to change Imam's mind so that Imam doesn't go towards Kufa. He himself was not happy with Yazid. So Imam didn't accept. And Sheikh Saduq says that فَلَمَّا رَأَى إِبْنُ عُمَرْ إِبَاءَهُ. When he saw that Imam does not change his mind, Imam refuses to change his mind, قَالَ يَا أَبَا عَبْدِ اللَّهِ. He said, "O Abu Abdullah, اكشف لي عن الموضع الذي كان رسول الله يقبله منك." Please open for me that part of your body that the Prophet used to kiss. This is Hussein, 57 years old. Still they had clear memory of this. فَكَشَفَ الْحُسَيْنَ عَنْ سُرَّتِهِ. Imam Hussein removed his shirt and showed him his stomach because the belly button was kissed by the Prophet. فَقَبَّلَهَا ابن عمر ثلاثا. He kissed the stomach of Imam 3 times. وَبَكَى. And he cried. وَقَالَ أَسْتَوْدِعُكَ اللَّهِ يَا أَبَا عَبْدِ اللَّهِ. I leave you in the hands of Allah. I am saying goodbye to you. فَإِنَّكَ مَقْتُولٌ فِي وَجْهِكَ. You are going to be killed. So this was a public knowledge. No one could say, I didn't know that who was Hussein. No one could say, I didn't know his position with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And even with this public knowledge, Imam took every opportunity to introduce himself. One of the things that they used to do was, before going to battle, they used to recite poems. And many of those were composed on the same day. It was not something that was made before. So they were very good in this. So they were reciting what we call rajas. Means, something that a person who goes for battlefield recites to show his ideas, his reasons for fighting, and sometimes to frighten the enemies. So there are many things. One of the things that members of Ahlul Bayt did, and also the companions of Imam did, was to mention the relation of Imam to the Prophet. So that no one can say, I didn't know, I was brought here, by mistake. Imam himself in many occasions made it clear, Hazrat Ali Akbar, and everyone else made this very clear. So, when something happens to the son of the Prophet, and the people who did this, they knew that he is son of the Prophet, I think every Muslim has no chance other than deeply being in sorrow and in pain and ashamed. So every Muslim, I think, if he knows, feels very sad and would cry for Imam Hussein alayhi salam. If this is not happening all over the Islamic world, it's because they don't know. Unfortunately, Bani Umayyah spread many rumors and many false hadiths about the day of Ashura, that if you do this in day of Ashura, it would be very blessed, if you fast, or for example, if you buy, your, for example, a stock on the day of Ashura for the whole year. So they wanted to make this a kind of happy occasion. So many people don't know what was the real story in the day of Ashura. But if we share with them the knowledge, I am sure every lover of Islam would feel sympathetic to us. But as a follower of Imam, as a follower of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, as a person who is ready to give his life for Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, as a person who is ready to give everything that he has for Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, because he loves Ahlul Bayt more than he loves himself. He loves the child of Imam more than he does his own child. Then Allah knows what happens to the heart of a true Shia. If we were able to see the way the true followers of Ahlul Bayt mourned for Hussein, if you were able to see the way Imams themselves mourned for Hussein, how Imam Zainul Abidin was mourning for Hussein. He was not doing, strange things that sometimes people do, but the pain was there, the cry was there. These are the things which are recommended. Not doing, something which is harmful to your body, or, shedding blood, these kind of things. But crying, being in pain, not joking, not laughing for the whole Muharram. This is something which was practiced by Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Imam Mahdi Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, in the ziyarah of Nahiyya Muqaddasah, which is attributed to Imam, and is a respected ziyarah, he says, لَأَبْكِيَنَّ عَلَيْكَ بَدَلَ الدُّمُوعِ دَمًا. I have so much cried for you that there is no tear left. If I was able now to start crying with my blood, I would cry with my blood. Some people who are confused or who are ignorant, they said, oh look, this shows Imam is happy with shedding blood. No, this is not the meaning of this sentence. it means that I want to continue crying for you. If I run out of tear, I wish I could, instead of water, offer my blood for crying. It doesn't mean that Imam actually cried, blood. So, Imam Zaman, after almost 1200 years, his pain is still fresh. And every day he remembers what happened to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So, depending on how much you know Hussein, how much you love Hussein, how much you feel that the loss of Hussein affected the Muslim Ummah and the entire humanity, then your sorry will increase. Imagine if Hussein was alive and respected, and people listened to him and benefited from his guidance. Do you think we would have problems that we have today in the world? So people, instead of benefiting from his guidance, they opposed him and take it to the extent that they killed him. So this is a great tragedy. If you see, there are people who are severely ill, and instead of benefiting from medical team which was sent to them, they have killed them. What would be your reaction? You feel very sad. Sometimes I use this example. I say, imagine there are people who live in very remote place, and there is an epidemic disease is killing all of them. A group of devoted doctors and nurses say, we want to go and help these people. Then people who know this say, you shouldn't go there because this is very risky. On your way to that place, there are many thieves, many robbers, many criminals who will attack you. Even those people who are ill, they may not appreciate you, they may attack you. But these people say, we as doctors and nurses are committed to offer our help for every person who is ill, whether he realizes he's ill or not, whether there are dangers or not. So they go there and then they get killed. What would be your reaction? You cannot stop praising them and blaming those people who killed them and feel deeply sorry. But is this the only thing? Or you will also decide to continue the job that was unfinished. This is something that inshallah I will explain later. That if you really mourn for Hussein and if you are really sad for the loss of Hussein, you have to continue the job that Hussein couldn't finish. You have to make sure that you do what Hussein wanted to be done. What is the point just, making, for example, a place in the place that they were attacked and killed, and just mourn for those doctors and nurses and forget that they gave their life for helping those ill people? If we forget those ill people, we have not been loyal to those doctors and nurses. So we have to remember their tragedy in order to get energy to continue their job. So for us, the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, mourning for Hussein is not something which is a historical issue. And because we remember what happened in history, we feel sad, deeply sad, but then we have our own life to carry on. For us, mourning for Hussein is a way of understanding what should we do in response to Hussein's call. What should we do to make sure that Hussein's job is finished? And history has proved that this has been actually the only thing that has kept the Shia community alive and intact. How much we have benefited from this, I think still we have only benefited maybe 10% or 20%. We can gain much more from mourning for Imam Hussein, for individuals and for our community. And inshallah I will explain. So, as a lover of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, by understanding more, we reach the level that we really don't feel happy in our life. We have occasions of happiness, but there is a deep sadness in our heart. And that deep sadness can only go away when you make sure that you have done your best in fulfilling what Imam Hussein wants from you. And that can only be known on the Day of Judgment. Because as long as you are alive, you are not sure whether you have done your best or not. Everyone who feels that he has finished the job and he is proud of himself or herself, I think needs warning. No mu'min, no matter how great services he or she has done, would never feel that he is a person who has fulfilled the responsibilities. A mu'min is always worried. Inshallah, after you die, hopefully you receive the news that alhamdulillah you have fulfilled everything. I hope this happens to all of us. But it's a big if. You cannot be sure about this. You have to make really great struggle in your entire life so that you can be able to say, I am a person that can stand next to Habib ibn Muzahir. I am a person can stand next to Muslim ibn Awsaj. Do you think this is easy? So no matter how much great works you have done in your life, it's very difficult. So we have great responsibility on our shoulder to, inshallah, follow the job which Imam and his little group left for us. So what, inshallah, from this part I'm going to start is to see what type of knowledge we have to have about Imam Hussein alayhi salam that can help us in responding to him. Without knowing Imam, I cannot know what Imam wants from me. How can I know what is Imam's demands without knowing Imam? I end tonight with few hadiths, and inshallah we will continue this discussion tomorrow. These are hadiths about the significance of doing ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, arifan bihaqqih. There are many hadiths. Just in Kamil al-Ziyarat, in chapter 54, there are 17 hadiths, just in one book. 17 hadiths about the merits of visiting Imam arifan bihaqqih. So it's not that everyone who mourns for Imam or even goes to Karbala would receive this reward. It's for the people who know Imam's right. And inshallah I will explain. Arifan bihaqqih doesn't mean just to know. Means to acknowledge. I will inshallah explain this. Just, I mentioned 2-3 hadiths so that your mind is getting ready inshallah for tomorrow. One hadith is from Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam. This is the third hadith in chapter 54 of Kamil al-Ziyarat. أدنى ما يثاب به زائر الحسين عليه السلام. The minimum reward for the visitor of Hussein. بشط الفرات, next to the Euphrates. إذا عرف بحقه وحرمته وولايته. If he knows the right of Hussein and his respect and his wilayah, أن يغفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه وما تأخر. The minimum reward is all his sins, the old ones and new ones, all will be forgiven. But not for everyone who goes there. If he acknowledges the right of Hussein and the wilayah of Hussein and the respect of Hussein. What does it mean? I will explain, inshallah. There are many hadiths with similar wording like this. من أتى قبر الحسين عليه السلام عارفا بحقه غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه وما تأخر. The same concept. Whoever goes to the grave of Hussein while knowing his right or acknowledging his right, his sins will be forgiven, the old ones and new ones. And there is a hadith from Imam Reza alayhi salam which needs reflection. It's very special. من زار الحسين بن علي عارفا بحقه. The one who visits Hussein, the son of Ali, while he knows the right of Hussein, كان من محدثي الله فوق عرشه. He would be one of the people that Allah will speak to him on his throne, on his arsh. Allah will treat the true visitor of Hussein as he treats Hussein himself. Because every follower would be joining his Imam. يَوْمَ نَدْعُو كُلَّ أُنَاسٍ بِإِمَامِهِمْ. If you can prove that you are a true follower of Hussein, Allah will take you where He takes Hussein. Then Imam Raza recited this ayah, إِنَّ الْمُتَّقِينَ فِي جَنَّاتٍ وَنَهَرٍ. Truly the pious people are in gardens and next to rivers. But something more is coming. فِي مَغَعَدِ صِدْقٍ عِنْدَ مَلِيكٍ مُقْتَدِرٍ. In a truthful position close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everyone who is in heaven would not have such position. There are many people who are in heaven, but they are not that close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says, Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutma'innah, which according to many hadiths, the excellent example is Imam Hussein. ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. Enter my own heaven. So apart from general heaven, there is part of heaven which Allah especially attributes to Himself. Like for example, the whole earth belongs to Allah. But Allah says, the mosques, the masajid are for me, are my house. And among all masajid, Masjidul Haram is Baytullah in a very special way. Every day belongs to Allah, but among the days, there are some days that Allah says these are Ayyamullah. Heaven is the same. Heaven belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but there is Jannati, there is my heaven for the people who are very close to Allah. And here Allah says, إن المتقين في جنات ونهر في مقعد صدق عند مليك مقتدر. So if someone visits Hussein, acknowledging the right of Hussein, as we will explain, what does it require? He would be so close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that other people will feel envy in a positive way, qibta, that why they cannot reach that level. So if this is Hussein, and this is the merit of the lovers of Hussein, then you would be very sad to see what people did to this Hussein. Why they didn't benefit from Hussein in dunya. If Hussein is so close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he could have solved the problems of humanity in dunya. But they deprived themselves from this and deprived others also from this. When Imam alayhi salam was going towards Kufa, he reached a place called Sa'labiyya. A person went to see Imam. His name was Bishr ibn Ghalib. He asked Imam, Yabna Rasulillah, O son of the Prophet, أخبرني عن قول الله عز وجل يوم ندعو كل أناس بإمامهم. The day we call every group of people to join their Imam. What does it mean? Imam replied, إمام دعا إلى هدى فأجابوه إليه وإمام دعا إلى ضلالة فأجابوه إليه. Imam said that in this verse Imam means leader. It can be Imam of guidance or Imam of misguidance. No matter whether that Imam is Imam of guidance or misguidance, every Imam and his followers will be sent to the same place. هؤلاء في الجنة وهؤلاء في النار. Those who follow Imam of guidance will go to heaven. Those who follow Imam of misguidance, they will go to hell. وهو قوله عز وجل فريق في الجنة وفريق في السعير. People don't go to heaven or hell as individuals. They go as a group with their leaders. Some go in group to heaven, some go to hell. So this was Imam's conversation in Sa'labiyya. Then they continued the journey and they reached a place called Udhaib. Imam had a nap midday, and after nap cried. فقال له ابنه ما يبكيك يا أبا. Hazrat Ali Akbar told Imam Hussein alayhi salam, my father, what made you cry? فقال يا بني إنها ساعة لا تكذب الرؤيا فيها. This is the time of the day that dreams are true. So what I saw in my dream is true. وإنه عرض لي في منامي عارض فقال, a person in my dream appeared to me and said, تسرعون السير والمنايا تسير بكم إلى الجنة. You are moving fast towards your destination, but indeed it is death that is moving you towards heaven. So Imam's cry was cry, in my understanding, of joy for heaven. The son of Imam asked him, Ya Abba, أفلسنا على الحق. Oh father, aren't we on the right path? Aren't we truthful? فقال بلى يا بني. Imam said, of course, we are on the right path. وَالَّذِي إِلَيْهِ مَرْجِعُ الْعِبَادِ. By Allah, to whom every person returns, we are on the right path. فقال يا أبه إذن لا نبالي بالموت. So he said, then we don't care. Death is not an issue for us. If Imam Hussein says this, you would not be surprised. If Imam Ali says, Wallahi labnu Abi Talib, anasu bil maut min at-tifl bisad ya ummah, you will not be surprised. But when a young person says this, it shows that it is not only Imams, even the children of Imams were at that level of understanding that for them death is not an issue. For them the only concern is whether they are on the right path or not, whether they are pleasing Allah or not.